Hi, I'm Reg,
And I'm Anne.
and we're Green Flags. How was your day, Ann?
My day was really good, but I'm full. I'm
Oh,
so full.
yeah, from those tacos that I
Oh
made.
my God.
Yeah,
Reg made these tacos. They were so good. I was really surprised how much I could taste the citrus in there. It was in the meat. It was so good. It's like carne asada,
yeah.
but it was very fresh and vibrant. It was great.
Well, I didn't skimp on you guys. I got like prime meat to cook, but it has to be a slow braise. It took about 4 hours to make, and I was really surprised with the product. And I guess the inspiration was that I took a trip to Panama a couple of months ago, and it was absolutely incredible. The food was absolutely incredible, and that's one of the things that I did eat. Now they do a lot of seafood down there too, but there's if you ever go to Panama and people tell you that everyone speaks English down there, that is a lie. They have a really deep Hispanic connection, and as you probably know, that food is deeply connected to culture.
Yes.
So, it was either make some enchiladas or tacos. So I'm like, yeah, who doesn't like a good taco? So, yeah, I use a little bit of what I uh, experienced in Panama to make a meal tonight, and it kind of worked out. People liked it. In fact, some people got second and thirds.
I don't know. I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So, and we had a nice beer to wash it down with. So yeah, it was a pleasant evening.
But I'm full. But yeah, no, it was great. And we did record the process. So you will find that video on our Patreon. We did do one earlier. The one we did last week was we recorded that as well. That was the fettuccine chicken fettuccine alfredo. Was oh my god, it was so good. Definitely not diet food, but for
Mm-mm.
special occasions, it was phenomenal. And that's going to be on our free feed, so you can watch that on YouTube or our website. And then moving forward, we're going to start putting those on our, I think, $7 tier.
hmm and not just full meals. I'm going to get into the whole range of cooking, particularly for guys, well, gals too these days that don't know how to cook. I can show you how to make uh, rolls, cinnamon rolls, all type of bread. If I get really ambitious, we can do a croissant, but croissants take a couple of days, so we'd have to condense the process. But we can do it on tape, and we'd love to do that for you because we appreciate your time. We appreciate you listening to us, and you know, we enjoy speaking with you as much as we hope that you enjoy listening to us.
Absolutely.
So, having said that, let's get into our topic tonight.
So, I wanted to talk about something incredibly difficult for me to talk about. I think a lot of people struggle with this. I have definitely struggled at points in my life about feeling unworthy. And feeling unworthy, it is a extremely painful feeling. It is painful, it's heavy. And the one thing that I really want to stress tonight is that it is only a feeling, it is not a fact. So your brain is temporarily lying to you based on stress, exhaustion, old habits, doubt. It lies to you and it makes you believe almost that you are unworthy. But again, just a feeling, not a fact.
That reminds me of my first attempt at college. I'll just say it was in Texas, and I would see all of these kids, same age, they're driving around in Mercedes, BMWs. They're wearing uh, members only jacket. Yeah, that's way back in the day. With all the latest clothes and shoes and whatnot. And I was just doing my best to keep body and soul together. And there were times where I did kind of feel like uh, I didn't belong there because they they seemed to have everything, and I had just enough to, you know, go to school and come back and eat, and yeah, I know what that feels like. It feels like that you are looking at a party and everyone's sitting in a big room and they have all these rich foods and you're looking through the window and it's and it's
And it's
cold.
snowing outside.
Yeah, it's snowing outside and you know you don't have a winter coat. Yeah, it's a really bad feeling. But
Yep,
once again, that's your brain lying to you because as I hope that you know that who you are and what you are is not predicated on your bank book or the car you drive or the house you live in. It's, you know, it's that core beliefs and everything that you are internally to you.
absolutely.
At least that's my take on it.
Yep. And did you know, Reg, that human beings, their brains are actually wired to internalize negative experiences as personal failures?
Hmm.
Yep. So this feeling is rarely about who you actually are, but instead it is a psychological reaction to stress, like I said, social pressures, your past conditioning, and a lot of this stems from your childhood. Early life and environment play a huge part in this. So, in your childhood, you can sometimes people grow up with hypercritical parents, emotional neglect, high expectations that teach children that love must be earned by performance.
Hmm.
So, I know a lot of people, myself included, that have had some of these things, expect high expectations. Um, I went off to boarding school at a very young age, so I feel, that lack of um, emotional support from my parents definitely made me feel less than.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Is that and here again, you know, I don't hold it to their charge because they didn't know any better, but it doesn't make the pain less while you're dealing with it, and not
Absolutely.
just as a child. As you go into adulthood, you know, you hear some of those same conversations, and you know, and you're sitting in front of your boss, and you know, you're doing your evaluation report, and they're telling you that you are, you know, setting new standards in your job, and then they come up with that one negative thing, and all of a sudden you're deflated,
Absolutely.
and that's just your brain. You know, your boss is looking at you like, you know, you're almost as good as sliced bread, and you're thinking, you know, maybe I should go on a gluten-free diet because, you know, he's telling me some things that I don't want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when you are a child, it feels like these things are so much bigger, and that's really when you're establishing a lot of your sense of who you are in the world.
Hmm. You know, uh, I'm the last of four siblings. Uh, my sisters were significantly older than I, 9 and 11 years old, and my brother's 2 years older than me. And it was just a constant barrage of negative stimulus. I'm I'm not going to say that they did it on purpose because all siblings have, you know, rivalry and things they say that they regret. But you know, I think for some children who are hypersensitive, that's it has a really dramatic effect on their psyche.
Hmm.
Because you know, I'm, you know, a little bit of an empath
Hmm.
that I pick up on people's behaviors, uh, and I think that things would have been better if my parents would have realized that, and instead of saying some of the things they said and some of the things that my siblings would say, you know, it just kind of piled up to the point where I just kind of had to block it out to maintain my
Hmm.
sanity.
And you have to make peace with it, because I truly believe, like, I know for sure my parents made mistakes. I made mistakes as a parent. I remember the day that my oldest was born and I was leaving the hospital, and he was such a little guy. And I looked at the nurse like, are you really going to let me leave the hospital with this little tiny human being? Like,
Really?
oh, yeah, I was terrified, terrified. There's no owner's manual or test you have to take before you become a parent. But I really think that parents, for the most part, do the best that they can.
Oh yeah.
And my parents definitely made mistakes, and I don't even consider them because I know they did the best they could with
Yes.
what they knew at the time, with what their capacity was. They did the absolute best that they could, as I did with my boys. I did the best I could. Was I perfect? Absolutely not. I made
Mm-mm.
mistakes, and sometimes I learned from them and I changed my methods, and other times I never learned from them, and they told me about them later and I was horrified.
Yeah, and we may have to do an entire podcast on that. You know, I don't think that your parents are bad people. Actually, quite the opposite.
Absolutely
I
not.
don't think
Yeah.
mine were either, but they were conditioned to think that way, and that's why they treated you in the manner they did. So they're they are products of poor conditioning,
Of
and
their
then they
environment.
yeah, and then they pass it along to their children,
Yep.
and that's it's a toxic mix. Uh, so hopefully we did a better job with
I
our
hope
kids.
so. I hope so.
Jury's out. We'll see.
We'll find out. So other things that can bring about this feeling is your core beliefs. So early negative experiences create deep-seated subconscious scripts that you tell yourself. Um, you know, you're telling yourself that you're flawed. You're telling yourself that you're far from perfect. Um, it's something that in your core, that little voice that just whispers to you in the dark.
And I've said that before. Is that sometimes you get those little random thoughts, and that is not part of your core beliefs,
Yep.
and it's almost like you have to have an invisible shield, like Wonder Woman, or one of the Marvel characters, that you have
Yes,
to bounce it off and like, well, no, that's not my thought, and I'm going to reject that. You
that's
know,
not truth.
um, I remember when I lived in Maryland, used to go across the Bay Bridge, and you know, it's a long bridge,
I
and
remember, I know that bridge.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they pull 30, 50 people off that bridge every month because they get that fear they're going to fall into the water. But there are a few people that get that impulse, go ahead and drive off this bridge, and they no, and they do.
What?
Now, I'm saying this, and I hope that this has never happened to you. But a couple of times driving across that bridge, I had that little impulse, like, what would it be like to to go flying off of this bridge? And I'm serious. And of
Because
course,
the bridge is so long? Like,
uh, I don't know. It's because you can see the water below, because it's one of those bridges where it was like rails, and I
oh,
guess
yeah, yeah.
they did that so you could replace pieces easily as opposed to concrete.
Okay.
Uh, but you'll have that little impulse, like go and turn your car to the right and see what happens. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing
I
that.
have never had that impulse.
Okay, well, good for you. I'm just being I'm just being honest here,
Yeah,
uh,
no, I'm
because
not judging you at all. I'm just trying to
and,
understand.
and that's fine if you do, because there are lots of people every year that listen to that impulse and they do it. And
Wow.
it sounds psychotic. It sounds like it makes no sense, but we are all we're all victims. We're all
Of our inner
prisoners.
voice.
Yes,
Yes.
but yeah. So anyway, don't go across that bridge if you don't have any common sense. Okay,
Oh my
well,
goodness.
enough of that.
All right. Other factors that lead into this feeling are cultural and social pressures. So, the comparison trap, always looking at what other people have. And social media, I'm telling you, social media highlights everyone's best moments,
Yeah.
and I read an article one time about how it is causing like huge depression in people, like seeing all these other people have these quote unquote perfect lives, and it's not always reality. I mean, you have to realize like these are their best moments. It's not their full life,
Mm-mm.
it's just their best moments
You
that
know,
they're showing.
it's a meme on I think it's on TikTok. There's this like little dog that has a smile to get access to his phone,
Yeah.
and he's crying, but he's crying until he needs to get access to his phone, and then he'll smile, and then he'll start crying again. And I
Oh.
think a lot of people that are intertwined in social media kind of behave like that because they put their best foot forward, but it actually may not be reality.
And when you see all these other people's perfect moments, you kind of feel like you're falling behind, but
Yeah,
it's not real. It's not real. It's just one moment in their life that you're seeing. And you can't think that their whole life is like that and your whole life is negative. You have great moments too.
yeah, like those tacos we had.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And then also, some other social pressures could be like your conditional worth. So society constantly tells us that our value is directly tied to our career,
mm,
our house, our wealth, our physical appearance, our productivity, our success. I mean, society puts so much pressure on individuals about what you should be in life.
it's really sad because everyone's not going to be a billionaire. Everyone's not going to live in a mansion. Everyone's not going to drive a luxury car, nor should they. But I think that you can get some intrinsic happiness out of where you are. I drive a Kia and I love it. You know, I don't live in a mansion. I live in a house that's manageable for me, and I love it. Uh, I think that social media has driven us to the point where we have to have all these things, and then once we get these things, none of them make us happy. And for me, that's not a measure of success.
Hmm.
Going back to my tacos because I love my cooking. You know, to see the look on people's faces when they're eating food that they enjoy. See, that's a measure of success for me.
Hmm.
So for you, it might be that you're at you know uh, Daddy Warbucks gold mine, and you guys are pulling nuggets out, and that's great. But I think that social media has kind of skewed the uh, definition and the idea of what's successful and what's not.
I'll tell you a story, Reg. So when I was a teenager, I couldn't tell you how old, some early teenage years, we went to the Philippines, and we did this trek out into the jungle. There was a huge waterfall that you could take a raft on. It was really enjoyable. And next to this waterfall, there was this huge hollowed out tree, and there was a entire family of, I'd say, 7 kids and 2 grandparents and I think a mother that lived in this tree. And the river was their everything. I mean, they washed in the river, they played in the river, they bathed in the river, they caught their food in the river. I mean, their whole life surrounded around this hollow tree in this river.
Uh-huh.
Now, here I am, a teenager. I have brand new Nikes on, which were like all the rage at the time. I had this shiny new Walkman, which was all the rage at the
Yeah,
time.
I remember
I
those.
think I had everything a kid could want,
Uh-huh.
really. And these kids, what they did is they would roast peanuts. And if you bought a bag of peanuts from them, they would sing to you. They all lined up and they would sing to you. And so, of course, my dad bought the peanuts and they all lined up and they're singing and they have these huge smiles on their face. They're beaming. They're so happy. And I'm thinking, as my young, however old I was, 12, 11, 12, 13, somewhere around there, why the hell are they so happy? Like, really, I was dumbfounded. I'm like, what do they, as I'm sitting there with my brand new Nikes and my fancy Walkman, and I'm like, why are they so happy? Like, I was jealous. I was jealous of their happiness. I couldn't understand it. And that changed my life. That moment changed my life, where I realized it doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter, if you have the mansion or the hollowed out tree.
Hmm.
To me, what made them so happy was their family, like the
Hmm.
family, the love that they had for each other,
Hmm.
and the joy that they had for each other. And I, being an only child, felt like I would never have that. I would never be that happy. I believed that because I was alone. And it was an amazing experience to learn it's not stuff. Doesn't matter what society tells you. It's not
Hmm.
stuff that makes you happy.
Hmm.
It's your love, the love in your life.
Hmm.
And I always felt I would never have that love in my life.
Wow. I told you that my first trip to Luxor, we're coming out of the hotel, 31 item buffet, and I'm complaining the fish is dry and the, you know, vegetables are dodging.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting ready to get back in the vehicle with my guide. And it's late in the day. I'll never forget it as long as I live. 117 degrees. There's no trees in Luxor. There's no
Mm-hmm.
place to hide. And I see 500 people out in the dunes just walking.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked the guy, Sadiq, what are they waiting for? It's kind of late in the day for a work detail. And he says, what do you mean? They're just there.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, as a matter of fact, these people had no place to lay their head. They didn't have a roof. The people that did, they're still living in mud and grass huts. You've been out there many
Yep.
times.
Yep.
Uh, no indoor toilet facilities, but they were managing life.
Yep.
And I just remember getting inside the vehicle and turning my head to the wall, being ashamed because I had everything. And
And
I
you're
think
still
I
complaining.
and I think I had just bought a watch down at the bazaar, and I couldn't even look at it because uh, these people had nothing, and I had everything, and I'm still complaining. That
Mm-hmm.
was 1993, by the way, and I promised myself that I was never going to complain just for nothing. I haven't been perfect, but uh, every now and then I can still see those people walking through the dunes. It don't give me a good feeling
Not a
still.
fuzzy fit. Yeah.
Mm.
I was in Egypt last year.
That's right.
And
That's
yeah,
right.
and
Yeah.
we went to Giza, and it was hot. It was really, 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 really hot.
Hmm.
So when you're in the Sahara and the locals are complaining about the heat,
Mm.
you know it's hot.
Hmm.
I even though it was so hot and miserable, I want to say miserable. The weather was miserable. The people there were so kind
Hmm.
and gracious,
Hmm.
and everyone I talked to, even like the gentleman trying to sell you the dollar scarf, and they're following you around. Just look, here, try it on. And everyone, even though it was hot, it was miserable. The kindness of the people there was just really humbling.
I used to joke with my boys when they were, ah, you know, 10 or 12. I'd like, hello, my friend. Because that's their phrase. Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend.
It's bedtime. It's about time you moved there, right? Yeah.
Oh.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, so like
that's
I
good.
said, comparison is a trap. Comparing your life to what other people have, comparing your life to what society says you should have to be successful, all of it's not helpful. And then there's also something called belonging anxiety. So really, as humans evolved, the drive to fit into the group can make any sign of rejection feel like a threat to survival. If your group rejects you, like the coyotes you were telling me about earlier, you could be doomed to die. I mean, you would not make it on your own. In a lot of times, I know, like in the so when I went to Maryland, actually, there was a street called Witch Duck Lane. Was it Witch Duck? Something like that, or
Mhm.
Duck Witch Lane. So I'm like, why? That is such an odd name. I have to look at the history of this. So I researched the history, and it is the road when you were suspected of being a witch
Hmm.
back in those days. You had to walk down this road to the pond, and they would bound your arms and throw you in the lake. And if you drowned, oh, sorry, you weren't a witch after all, and
I
so
shouldn't
sorry
laugh.
that it happened.
That's horrible.
It's horrible. But if you survived, you
Then
were
you're
definitely a
yeah, definitely a
witch.
witch. Yeah.
And they would cast you out of society. Like you would no longer be able to go talk to your children or your husband or visit your house. They put you on the other side of the pond and you just had to survive in the wilderness on your own. And they didn't make it. A lot of times they just didn't make it.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. As you know, I have a TikTok page and I have a, few thousand followers, and I am appalled at some of the stories I hear. Not because they're offensive, is that there is a pandemic of loneliness.
Yes.
And, even though social media connects us and brings us together, it also accentuates that, you know, people have a lot of stuff, but
Yes.
they're still lonely and they're still,
Unhappy.
yeah, and
Yep.
they don't feel like they fit in anywhere.
They still feel unworthy.
Yeah.
Yep. So, um, there are cognitive and emotional habits that also contribute to this. The human brain automatically pays more attention to criticism and failure than it does to praise and success.
Mhm.
I mean, that's norm. That's
Well, the phrase is that the a lie travels faster than the truth.
yes.
Yeah.
Negativity usually does.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, Perfectionism, so setting impossibly high standards, that can guarantee failure, which makes the brain say, "Hey, this is proof." This is proof that you're unworthy of success. I mean, there's just it's almost like a vicious circle.
It's been horrific examples of gymnasts because in their world they do have to be perfect. I'm thinking of what is that? I can't think of the gymnast name. It'll come to me in a second. But anyway, when they get to the main event and they don't get first place on the podium,
Hmm.
their whole world falls apart.
Yeah.
You know, I can't think of her name, but she lives in West Virginia and she's dealt with alcoholism and
Oh
drugs.
no.
And, I just think that, first of all, I like watching gymnastics in the Olympics. It's coming up this summer. And I tip my hat to people that can do it. But I think at the end of the day, when their career is done, and if they don't achieve that gold or silver medal, they should have some counseling to tell them that the real world's not like that.
Hmm.
Because you have to remember, they've been doing that since they were little kids
And every day training, training, training. It is their life. It is everything in their life.
and yelled
Training.
at and saying that you're too fat or you're too tall or you didn't do this flip right. Everything is rewiring their
Hmm.
brain to say, you know,
You have to be
you
perfect.
have to be perfect. And that's a recipe for disaster for
Yeah,
anyone.
absolutely. And then when you're not perfect, your brain is just using that to make you feel worse. Your brain's telling you you're bad, you're going to feel bad.
Hmm.
So, if any of this rings a bell, if any of this sounds familiar, because for me, some of it does, absolutely. In fact, I don't know anyone where it doesn't. There are things you can do to disrupt that negative spiral. So, one of the things that I do sometimes is I label the feeling. So, if I feel bad, I tell myself, okay, I'm having a thought, but that does not mean I'm unworthy. That is not a fact. Thoughts and facts are completely two different things.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
create space between your emotions and what is reality.
Hmm. Yeah, that's kind of difficult for me sometimes, but
Yeah,
but I
it is
understand.
hard. It is hard to
Yeah,
do.
but I understand what you're saying. Uh, because the reality is, and I understand it now. even with my sons, try as I might, uh, there was lots of times that I came up short, but my intentions were good. But now, since they've grown up to be such fine young men, you know, I don't pat myself on the back. I pat them on the back for
Mm-hmm.
listening to the good things I told them and ignoring the other
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Throwing everything else out the window.
Yeah, yeah.
I
They
love
probably
it.
threw a lot of stuff out. I don't
Yeah. I think my kids did too.
know.
That's okay. Um, Stop comparing yourself. I mean, that's huge. Step away from what social media is showing you as perfection. Step away from what society is telling you you should look like, how you should dress, what kind of house you should live in. None of that matters. And it's not about, they do not get to tell you what's enough.
Because I deal with, once again, thousands of listeners on a daily basis, and for me, my approach is I'm talking to just a one person, because I'm trying to get a particular thought or idea across that I'm trying to, not necessarily convince you, but I'm trying to inform you of a problem or, a way to
Situation.
possibly solve it.
Hmm.
Um, I think that there are lots of people that do what I do far better than I do. But see, I don't compare them because the way that I present an idea or a topic is unique because I'm unique,
Hmm.
you know. So I'm not trying to be the biggest or the, most loved. I'm trying to be the most effective when I'm talking to that one person. And I think that's why people listen to me,
Hmm.
because
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to be Alexander the Great because he's dead.
He died young.
Yes.
Yeah. So don't compare yourself. You are unique. You have your own strengths, and you should focus on what are your strengths. Focus on what are your wins. And I'll tell you a story. So my mom tells this story. When my mom was in elementary school, all the way up to like ninth, 10th grade, she hated school. Like she was um, an average student,
Mm-hmm.
and that wasn't her passion. Her passion was sports. My mom was a phenomenal volleyball player. She won awards. She went on to coach. She,
I did not know that.
yeah, volleyball. And
Mm.
you name the sport, even ice hockey, my
Oh
mom could
wow.
do it. My
Okay.
mom was a warrior when it came to sports.
She's,
But school, not so much.
mm-hmm.
And the nuns that she went to a Catholic school, the nuns would berate her all the time because she was a average student.
Mm-hmm.
And this one nun would really torment her. She started keeping her after class to, if she didn't get a great grade on something, she'd have to like sweep the floors and all this stuff. And so she'd go home late from school because this nun would keep her after. And eventually, my mom would lie about why she was late. She would say, oh, I got distracted, whatever. She wasn't telling her mother the truth. So
Mm-hmm.
one day she came home and she just blurted it out. Yeah, I got held left out. I got held after class
Mm-hmm.
because this grade wasn't that great. And my grandmother was fierce. Nobody messed with my grandmother or her kids.
I can
So
imagine.
she marched herself down to the principal's office, was a nun, and she said, how dare you? How dare you treat my daughter like this? She's doing the best she can. How dare you
Mm-hmm.
make her feel like she's not enough? And she goes, her teacher, that nun, is going to apologize to her in class.
Mm-hmm.
And the principal goes, yes, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right away. And so the next day, my mother went to school, and the nun gave this speech. She basically said, God gives everyone a talent. And some people's talents are, you know, math. Some people's talents are science. Some people's talents are writing. And some people's talents, and she looked right at my mom, are sports. And you should celebrate whatever talent it is that God gave you and not compare yourself to other people.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You never told me that.
Yeah, no, I never told you that story.
No.
Yeah. So I could not agree more that everyone has unique talents. It's not going to be the same as everyone else. So celebrate yours. You're not going to be perfect in everything, nor do you need to be.
Mm-mm.
Just celebrate your wins, your strengths.
Honest to goodness, I never wanted my boys to be doctors or lawyers or, you can call them up right now. What did Dad say? I said, you know what I want you to be? I want you to be happy. I've said that to you before.
I've said that to my boys so many
I said, I
times.
just want you to be happy. So whatever, because my oldest son, he tried a bit of college and he said, Dad, this is not me. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, fine. So, you're going to find something to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's not that, I understand. And I think that once again, that's a poison pill for a lot of parents. Well, you know, I'm a doctor and your granddad's a doctor, so you're going to be one too. And, and they may have a passion to be an artist or something else far removed from medicine.
Yep.
And that's okay. That makes the world bigger. And actually, it makes that family bigger.
So what a boring world this would be is if everyone was a lawyer.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, everybody would be a liar.
Oh dear God. Oh dear God. All right. And then lastly, always practice, basic self-care. Treat yourself to a good meal. Pamper yourself. Take a short walk. Um, show your body that you're worth looking after. If you start to feel like you're not enough, treat yourself because you are.
You know, I don't work out like I did in my 20s, but I do something 4 days a week now because it's it's screaming hot here in Las Vegas. I don't go outside much, but I have a little treadmill and I have some light weights to keep stretching, and I do that 4 days a week because I want to keep my body in uh, you know some measure of physical conditioning, and it helps my mind as well because when I finish a workout, and I'm taking a shower, I'm like, I feel better. If I'm on the edge of, thinking about some things that are going to make me slightly depressed, I go in there and work out, and then I don't even remember those things. I'm
Yeah.
focused on what I had set out to do for the rest of the day.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
And, shift your perspective. So one of the things that may help you is acknowledging the weight of the feeling. So recognizing that carrying this, feeling of being not enough takes a massive emotional energy and you deserve a break from it. I mean, set it down, let it go. Put that in the corner.
Man, I tell you, uh, I love baseball. And, I played, league and high school. And I got to the point where, the people that were really good, got to play. And I was like, okay. And I didn't get to play very much. Uh, and that was kind of hard to swallow for a moment. But then I thought about it. Most of these guys on the baseball team, their grades are horrible,
And they can't play guitar.
and they can't play guitar either. That's true. So long story short, everybody has something that they're good at.
Absolutely.
And, I wish it would have been baseball because I wouldn't be talking to you guys right now to have $1 million contract. But, yeah, in fact, that was the 10th grade when that's when they told me that, you're not good enough to
Ouch.
finish the team. No, and it was true because we had
Yeah.
some really good players, and I just wasn't one of them.
And that's okay, Reg.
And that's okay. Yeah.
Yep. Some other things you can do to shift your perspective: lower the bar. You don't need to be perfect. Recognize you don't need to be a perfect, highly productive person. Really, happiness is what you need.
Sometimes, I've talked about my schedule in the morning. I get up, I feed my cat Ashley, I change her little box, make sure she has water. I let her outside for a little bit. And then I can have a cup of coffee and kind of focus on what's important uh, for the day. Sometimes what's important at 8 o'clock isn't as important at 4 o'clock. And, you just have to, like you say, shift your perspective and, realize just because that didn't get done on that day doesn't make you unworthy. It doesn't make you any less. You'll get it tomorrow
Yep.
or the next day, or sometimes things come up. Sometimes, to be perfectly honest with you, you know, I have good intentions, but I get tired. So instead of me trying to push myself to the point, as if I were punching a clock, no, I just like, what, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yep. Absolutely. And then lastly, remember to focus and celebrate your wins. No matter how big, how small, doesn't matter. Celebrate your wins.
And I'm going to talk about those tacos one more time
Those were wins.
because
Those were
man,
definitely
that
wins.
was a huge win, and it was worth the effort, and people enjoyed it. And see, that's the intrinsic value of people eating food, and they appreciate it. And see, that's good for me. I don't need to be on Jeopardy. I'd like to be on Jeopardy, but for today, the tacos did the trick.
Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate your time and we appreciate you listening to us. And if you like anything that you heard, we would encourage you to go to Patreon and become subscribers. For as little as $7, you can listen to a good bit of our content, or you can go to our website at greenflagsonly.com, where there's some free podcasts you can listen to that give you some self-help tips, and hopefully that will improve your mental well-being and give you a better perspective on life.
And we're on a lot of other pod players as well. So please like and subscribe or rate us. And we appreciate it. Thank you.
And of course, you are worthy.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time.
Take care.